4 tires and are closing right in. Let's have a look at those Ram fastest pit stops. It will be, of course, the 2 tire stops that were faster, led by your nemesis, Clint Bowyer. Need I remind you what's at stake here? Jeff promised that if Bowyer won the race, Jeff would interview him wearing this beautiful Chiefs jersey.
Well, they've got to survive this 4-wide racing that's going on right now. And I got to say, I think right now I'm going to want 4 tires, not 2 tires, because business is picking up. Kyle Busch getting shuffled.
Kyle Busch shuffled back to 16th. The 4-tire group was led by Ross Chastain and Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, got
and
some
it's trouble
issue with the 18
for the defending NASCAR champion Kyle Busch.
Tire rubber blown up.
Vince.
They came on the radio and told Kyle Busch he had a tire rub. That was the issue coming to pit road.
Boy, I don't see.
Well, he's down on the apron in turn 1, Jeff. That's a long way around.
It sure is. And you got to be really, really careful if it is a tire rub that you don't tear that tire apart. A lot of times we see these tires go down. If they've rubbed, they'll actually shred into pieces.
Up front, Ryan Newman, Brad Keselowski, 2 Fords side by side from different teams. Eric Almirola's Ford. Christopher Bell, the rookie in Toyota.
Well, we saw Ryan Newman up front at the beginning of this race. We have not seen it since then, but 18 laps to go, now 17. He's right in the mix of this, a former Daytona 500 winner. He knows how to get it done.
The 2008 winner, Newman, battling for the lead. And let's see if there's contact for Kyle Busch. This is Joey Logano right behind him. Trouble.
Big wreck. Here's the big one. Man.
Well, there goes half the field.
Sure does.
And it's Ryan Newman leading them around. Oh,
Jimmy Johnson. Hopes in his final Daytona 500.
Kurt Busch, another former Daytona 500 winner. Brad Keselowski trying to win it for the first time, all torn up. Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola, one of the fastest Fords in this entire field. And here's Martin Truex, who couldn't get back to the lead pack and gets all torn up. Smoke out the exhaust pipe.
That's not a tire problem for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
We are, of course, under caution with 15 to go. Watch the outside line here, Jeff.
You can see Joey Logano really aggressive to the rear bumper of the 10. He's going to push him all the way up to the 2. And they just, right before the 10 gets there, there's a little bit of movement. And that little bit of movement, when you make that much contact, turns your car right around. That's exactly what happened to Brad Keselowski and the 10 of Almirola.
And that happens right in front of most of the field.
And that really all started with a big push from Joey Logano. Remember Joey Logano talking on the radio earlier about, you got to tell me when I'm pushing that car and it's going to make contact with the car in front of us. Well, that happened right there with his teammate.
Here's our Ford onboard camera with Logano.
You could hear he started to lift, but unfortunately Almirola's car started sort of swaying back and forth right before he made contact with the 2. Hooks his bumper, turns him around.
Oh, he slammed Alex Bowman. And then it's on. And for the second time in less than a handful of years, Eric Almirola ends up being knocked out of a good chance to win the Daytona 500.
Here on board with Austin Dillon. He even downshifted, trying to get that car slowed down enough to avoid this accident.
Riding with Jimmy Johnson, our Chevy cam.
Oh, just gets slammed. One of the cars loses control. I think that was Martin Truex Jr. came down, made heavy contact with Jimmy on the right side.
Was it a question of if or a question of when?
I think it was just a question of when. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. That group caught that other group. They're going to race really hard to gain that track position. We saw so much bump drafting going on. We're getting down to the end of the Daytona 500. Nobody's going to lift in that situation.
We are under the red flag. Cars are stopped on the backstretch, and work has stopped among the cars that are on pit road. And there's our AMR safety team attending to Brad Keselowski. Reports from our cameramen are that all drivers whose cars are stopped are out of their cars, and Brad surveying the damage. One of 4 top drivers with more than 10 Daytona 500 starts, trying to win it for the first time.
Well, Mike, I mean, it's a product, you know, of the bump drafting that goes on. We talk about blocking. I don't think anybody was trying to block. It was just trying to get those lanes moving. These cars close up so fast. Here's another look at this. Yeah, watch these 3 cars right here. You've got Joey Logano, who's locked onto the rear bumper of Eric Almirola. There's going to be a big shove here. And you see the back of the car already moving right as he gets to the rear bumper of the 2 of Brad Keselowski. All it takes is the slightest amount of sideways motion to get that 2 car of Keselowski turning sideways. Really, I mean, Eric Almirola was basically the meat between the sandwich there. He's getting pushed from Joey Logano. He's going up to the rear bumper. He has no choice but to bump draft the 2. All Brad can do is try to hold the steering wheel straight. I mean, this is just aggressive racing in the end of this race. Ross Chastain was having such a great day. Bummer to see him get caught up in that.
And I'm not sure his day is over. Minimal damage, it appears, to his car.
That's a good
We'll
point,
see once
Mike.
they get him back to pit road. John Hunter Nemechek has made it back to the pits. No work allowed under the red flag. Alex Bowman is back to pit road.
We saw David Reagan coming back from retirement to make a Daytona 500 attempt again, and we saw him get involved in that also.
If I'm going to pick one driver besides the retired Bobby Allison to pick his way through an incident, it's Kevin Harvick.
You're race ready. It's easy coming back up across the track. I can't see a damn thing with the dirt. See anything.
Phenomenal job. I mean, he was in a great position to be a little bit further back, to be able to get slowed down. The seas parted as Kevin Harvick came right through. And that's what I'm talking about, Mike. It's things like that that have to happen for you if you're going to win the Daytona 500. Right there was definitely something that Kevin Harvick said, all right, right now things are on our side.
I once asked Bobby Allison, the Hall of Famer, who I know is home watching our telecast tonight, how do you miss all those wrecks? He says, I aim for where they are. They're not going to be there when I get there.
Well, I think there was a movie that was made 30 years ago with a statement similar to that.
Days of Thunder.
Yes.
Let's watch Clint Boyer in the 14 work his way through this in black and gold, top of your screen, 5th car back. Now 6th car back, and here he comes.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He made it through. And almost De Benedetto clipped him on the way by.
Here's what Boyer had to say about that.
Yeah, how'd you do that? I don't know. That was close, though, boy. Woo! We're 6th, and a bunch of cars are torn up, man. I mean, a bunch. Might be 8 or 10 of us that aren't hurt. I was teed up with a 2, and he stayed up.
Neil Bonnet won a Firecracker 400 here one July. He passed 3 cars in turn 3 on the last lap and said, how'd you do that? He said, man, did it all with my eyes closed. Here are the cars involved in that crash. We're not yet sure who might be able to continue. We'll know that after they lift the red flag.
What do you say we dial up Clint Boyer?
That's always
see
entertaining.
What he has to say. Hey, Clint, this is Jeff up in the booth. You got me, buddy?
Got you, man.
Hey, I'm pulling out this jersey, getting it warmed up after seeing you thread the needle through that accident right there. You got to be feeling pretty good about your race car and that you made it through that big one.
Probably more so getting through that big one, man. I had him teed up. Brad was backwards sliding, and I was like, oh, no. Barely missed him, but, according to plan, you hate to ride in the back, but you know it's coming. You got to give yourself a chance. Said it from day one since I got here. Survival, survival, survival. It's go time now. Gloves are off. Time to go.
Well, and we saw you did kind of play out that strategy. You were in the back early on in this race, but right now, I got to believe you're pretty happy with the position you're in. What is it going to take? I mean, is it going to take more things like that, or what kind of move can you make? Who can help you to get to the lead and try to win this Daytona 500?
Well, I think a couple things led to that wreck. Honestly, it was, at the end of the race, things start to compress, but 2 tires. Everybody was sliding around, had their hands full. Be interesting to see what everybody does here after the caution, being that there's so few cars left. But we're one of them, baby. Get that jersey ready. You're going to need it.
Well, you're putting on a heck of a show, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, boys.
All right, let's go to the Advent Healthcare Center and Regan Smith.
Well, Kurt Busch, the first to emerge from the Advent Healthcare Center. Kurt, know that was a big wreck in front of you there. Was there anything you could have done different?
Nah, couldn't have done much different. It was 15 to go, and we're all racing hard, and we ended up knocking the oil cooler out of it. It's not even worth watching, guys. For me, my guys prepared a really good Monster Energy Camaro. The CL1 was fast. It was hooked up. I was able to go wide open, and on the inside lane, Lady Luck was not on our side. There it is. Boom. That's a roulette wheel, people. The roulette wheel spins, and it grabs your number. It grabbed my number. Maybe in Vegas will be a little better.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Glad you're okay.
Las Vegas next week, race number 2 of the NASCAR Cup Series. We're under the red flag for a grinding crash on the back straightaway. The Daytona 500 has 16 laps to go. "16 laps to go in the Daytona 500. We're under the red flag as they continue cleanup in the back straightaway from a multi-car incident. Let's go back to the Care Center. Regan Smith.
Well, Brad Keselowski standing here with me. Brad, we saw the push that Joey Logano gave Eric Almirola down the back straightaway. They got to your back bumper once they hit you too much to hold on to?
Yeah, I just instantly spun out. I don't know. I had a 6 car in front of me. I think I was about to push him and just a lot of kind of kinetic energy there. But, you know, I felt like we had a really good car. I made one mistake about a lap earlier, and the 95 was doing such a great job of pushing the 6. I didn't think they'd have as strong of a run as they did, and they just got by me there on the bottom. I should have covered that better, and I didn't. So it's my fault. I kind of put myself in position for that. But it's a really good effort from everyone, the Discount Tire Ford team. I felt like we were right there. We led a lot of laps. We were certainly in position at the end, and just not quite strong enough.
Did you have any clue that they were coming with that big of a run from Joey as well as Eric Almirola right there, or was it just pretty much nothing you could do?
Well, I knew the 10 was coming, and the 6 threw a pretty good block, and you know, we were closing in on them. It's a lot of energy when you got 3 or 4 of them. You know, it adds up quick.
All right, thanks for talking to us, Brad.
Keselowski led 30 laps today. There is Almirola's car awaiting a push to get back to pit road. They're going to refire the cars, and once the caution flag is displayed, they'll be allowed to work on those cars, and that work begins now.
And we talked to Clint Boyer and what a great job he did, or getting lucky making it through that crash. But I'd say the same thing about Hamlin. Thought Hamlin really did a nice job working his way through there, and Logano. So Logano, Hamlin, and Boyer just making it through before that hole closed up.
Now, we'd been talking about Kyle Busch, and it turns out we saw that smoke from the exhaust pipe. He does have engine issues, but he is still running. So scoring owes him a lap, we're told. He'll be allowed to pass the pace car and come around so that his scoring is correct with the rest of the field.
That didn't sound good. He
No?
just went to start the engine up, and it did not sound good. I think this is probably heading towards being pretty terminal.
Here. Okay, can you get us a push?
Saturday, week 3 of the XFL heats up. Coach Bob Stoops leads Dallas against Seattle. Catch the action sports fans can't stop talking about. Saturday, 5 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. You could play football here.